Hello and welcome to Ultimate Football History, where we look at the great what-ifs of the beautiful game and attempt to predict what may have happened if football had taken a different course. Today we'll be asking, what if Sven Goran Eriksson had joined Manchester United in 2002? Outside of Italy or Portugal, most people remember Sven Goran Eriksson as being the England manager. He got England to three successive quarter-finals, but was ultimately in charge of England's underachieving golden generation. Fans in England will also remember decent but unspectacular spells at Man City and Leicester. However, there was a reason Eriksson got the England job and was very close to getting the Man United job in 2002. So let's quickly have a look through his history so we have a better understanding of the Swede's reputation in 2002. His first major impact in football was with IFK Göteborg, where he won a league and UEFA Cup double in 1981. This gained him the attention of Portuguese giants Benfica, who brought Eriksson to Portugal in 1982. Whilst there, he immediately won a league and cup double and then followed by winning a second league title in his second season. He was then snapped up by Roma in Italy, but he didn't quite have the quick start he had at Benfica. However, his second season brought an impressive second place and a Coppa Italia. After 5 mixed years in Italy with Roma and Fiorentina, Eriksson moved back to Benfica, where he didn't quite match his league success from last time, but still delivered a league title in 1991 to get his reputation back on track. Moving back to Italy with Sampdoria, Eriksson had 5 good seasons without pushing Sampdoria any higher. Halfway through his final season, Eriksson agreed to take over at Blackburn Rovers at the end of the season. However, Eriksson pulled out of the contract after being offered the chance to stay in Italy and manage Lazio. It was at Lazio that Eriksson finally gained a reputation as one of the best managers in the game. In his second season, he got a second place finish and the UEFA Cup Winners' Cup trophy, Lazio's only European trophy to date. Then, in the 99-2000 season, Eriksson delivered Lazio's second, and so far their last, league title. A fourth season would then be interrupted with Eriksson taking over the England job in January 2001. Eriksson took over England with them bottom of their World Cup qualifying group, after failing to win either of their opening 2 games, including a disappointing 1-0 loss to Germany in the last ever game at the old Wembley. Eriksson started well with a 3-0 win over Spain, but the first real test would be the qualification game in Munich against Germany. A historic 5-1 win is still talked about in England and is regarded as one of the country's best results this century. By the end of qualification, Eriksson had won 5 and drawn 1 of his competitive games, the final one being a dramatic 2-2 draw with Greece, with David Beckham scoring that free kick and securing England's place at the 2002 World Cup. At the World Cup, draws with Nigeria and Eriksson's home nation Sweden, as well as a 1-0 win against Argentina, a result many Englishmen saw as revenge for the '98 World Cup, was enough to get through the group. A comfortable 3-0 win against Denmark was next, but England ultimately fell short in a tight game against eventual winners Brazil. Alex Ferguson had originally planned to retire in the summer of 2002. Eriksson himself said he signed a contract with United and was set to quit England after the World Cup. Ferguson eventually changed his mind and signed a new contract, leaving Eriksson to stay with England. But what if he didn't? And here's where our ultimate football history begins. Ferguson retires, and following England's defeat to Brazil, United announced Sven Goran Eriksson as their new manager. Eriksson was fairly well liked at this point due to the 5-1 win against Germany, and nobody really felt it was his fault England didn't beat World Cup winners Brazil. However, quitting after just 18 months would really turn the public on him, and Eriksson would be widely disliked across England for jumping ship to join United. So let's look at how Eriksson would do for United, starting with the 2002-2003 season. Ferguson made one signing in the summer of 2002, with Rio Ferdinand joining from Leeds. He would play an important role as United would go on to win the league and get to the final of the League Cup. I've put out a starting 11 of the most used players in that season, with the likes of Roy Keane and Gary Neville missing large stretches of the season with injury, meaning Juan Sebastian Veron and John O'Shea playing regularly. Elsewhere, it's the team you'd expect. With some uncertainty around what would happen after Ferguson, Rio Ferdinand would go elsewhere, while Sven Goran Eriksson would turn to some familiar players to boost his squad. First in would be Alessandro Nesta for 28 million from Lazio, who turns down Milan to play for his former manager at United. Eriksson would also have less faith in players like Mikael Silvestre than Ferguson did, so would bring in another centre-back to partner Nesta in Sinisa Mihajlovic. Mihajlovic once said he owes everything to Eriksson and that the Swede has helped him more than anybody. Mihajlovic would certainly make an impact on English football, even if not always positively, with fans not knowing if he'll turn up and score a 30-yard free kick or not even last the 90 minutes. He would certainly be well liked by United fans. Eriksson would also want to boost his attack and sign Enrico Chiesa on a free transfer, who he worked with at Sampdoria. It would be a successful season for United, with the likes of Van Nistelrooy, Beckham, Scholes and Giggs continuing their great form. Juan Sebastian Veron would also be a more important player, having previously played his best football of his career with Eriksson at Lazio. Chiesa would be underwhelming, but Nesta would widely be regarded as one of the best defenders in the league. With this, United would still win the league with Eriksson as manager. Elsewhere, easy wins against Portsmouth and West Ham before a loss to a good Arsenal side would leave Eriksson having the same fate in the FA Cup as Alex Ferguson. In the League Cup, United still get to the final, but again lose as Jerzy Dudek still stars and delivers Liverpool the cup. Similar situation in the Champions League as Eriksson leads United through two fairly easy group stages before being outclassed by Real Madrid. So far, a similar season as United had under Ferguson, but will it last? Going into the 2003-2004 season, Ferguson had a busy summer with 7 new signings in David Bellion, Eric Djemba-Djemba, Tim Howard, Kleberson, and the 2 biggest signings, Cristiano Ronaldo and Louis Saha. Elsewhere, Ferguson had fallen out with David Beckham and sold him to Real Madrid, and has given up on Veron, selling him to Chelsea. Ferguson's United would finish 3rd as Arsenal go unbeaten and Chelsea finish 2nd in their first season under the ownership of Roman Abramovich. Disappointment in the League Cup and Champions League was overlooked by an FA Cup victory. With a season and a title under his belt, Sven Goran Eriksson would attempt to build on that and continue to mould United into his team. With Roy Keane becoming increasingly frustrated with Eriksson and his favouritism towards Veron, Eriksson begins planning for the Irishman's eventual departure and brings in another player he worked with at Lazio in Dejan Stankovic, just edging past Inter to sign the Serb. Feeling like Phil Neville isn't good enough at left back, Eriksson brings in Wayne Bridge from Southampton, with interest also coming from Chelsea. With Chiesa ageing and not a lot of trust in Forlan or Solskjaer, Eriksson wants to sign a new partner for Ruud van Nistelrooy. He is linked with Fulham's Louis Saha, but eventually signs a player he rated highly in his time as England manager and signs Darius Vassell from Aston Villa. Finally, with Fabian Barthez leaving, United need a new keeper. After spending the summer chasing Jens Lehmann, only for the German to choose Arsenal, Eriksson signs David James from recently relegated West Ham. Eriksson would also begin shipping players he didn't fancy, such as Phil Neville and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. In the league, United trail far behind Arsenal and Chelsea as they finish 3rd. In the FA Cup, United cruise through the early rounds before losing to a superior Arsenal side in the semi-final. Embarrassment comes in the League Cup as they go out to Leeds in their first game of the competition. Meanwhile, Eriksson's United cruise past Stuttgart, Panathinaikos and Rangers in the Champions League group stage, only to fall in the next round against Jose Mourinho's Porto. Overall, the season is seen as a disappointment, and fans think United need to majorly improve to be on the level of Arsenal and Chelsea. Nesta continues to be superb in defence, but Mihajlovic is beginning to show his age, and Wayne Bridge isn't quite as good as Eriksson believed. David James makes too many mistakes for a number 1 keeper at United, and fans begin to worry if they already need a new keeper. Veron and Stankovic proved to be a good midfield pairing, but questions are asked of Roy Keane and Paul Scholes' lack of involvement. David Beckham has an average season, and rumours of Real Madrid wanting him as their new Galactico become stronger. Van Nistelrooy has an excellent season, which helps overshadow the fact that Darius Vassell isn't a title challenging striker, and Enrico Chiesa is past his best. Into the 2004-2005 season, Alex Ferguson makes just 3 signings: Alan Smith from Leeds, Gabriel Heinze from PSG, and the biggest transfer of the summer, Wayne Rooney from Everton. This would not be enough to win the league, with Jose Mourinho's Chelsea being dominant. A loss to Arsenal in the FA Cup final, alongside losing to Milan in the Champions League and Chelsea in the League Cup, meant Ferguson went the season without a trophy. A rebuild is imminent, and the United board have faith there is no man better to deliver than Alex Ferguson. Going into his 3rd season at United, Eriksson would also sign Wayne Rooney. Eriksson was a big fan of Rooney, and in reality called him up to the England squad whilst he was still at Everton, so there's no reason to think he wouldn't want to bring him to United. After serving him well at the 2002 World Cup, and with a need to have a backup to Gary Neville, Eriksson signs Danny Mills on a free transfer from Leeds. With Mihajlovic aging, Eriksson's United just about beat Real Madrid to the signing of Jonathan Woodgate from Newcastle United. There would also be plenty leaving the club, with Beckham finally joining Real Madrid, Roy Keane being released by mutual consent, and Enrico Chiesa coming to the end of his contract. As well as this, Mikel Silvestre, Nicky Butt and Diego Forlan also leave the club. In the league, United fall further behind Arsenal and Chelsea. Despite Nesta undoubtedly being world class, alongside him is a rotating door of an often injured Jonathan Woodgate, an ageing Sinisa Mihajlovic and Wes Brown. Ryan Gigg proves to be United's best midfielder, with Dejan Stankovic being given too many defensive duties. Juan Sebastian Veron begins losing form, and Paul Scholes is shifted to right midfield to get him into the team and to replace Beckham. One key positive would, however, be the partnership of Rooney and Van Nistelrooy. In other competitions, Eriksson would fare similarly to Ferguson, but a 2nd season without a trophy and falling further behind Arsenal and Chelsea, fans begin to question the Swede. Sven Goran Eriksson is sacked in the summer of 2005. A single trophy across 3 seasons, albeit being the Premier League, isn't enough for the fans or the board, and with the club falling behind Arsenal and Chelsea, the decision is made to bring someone else in to rebuild United. The leading contenders to replace Eriksson are Vicente Del Bosque, Fabio Capello, Louis van Gaal, and the fan favourite for the job, David Moyes, who recently got Everton to a 4th place finish, just behind Eriksson's United. In the years immediately after his sacking, Eriksson's reputation in England is poor. He is seen as a man who prematurely quit England to replace Ferguson, who then won the league with Ferguson's players, only to fail when he brought in his own players. As the dust settles and David Moyes drops United further than Eriksson, people begin suggesting he didn't do a bad job. Succeeding Ferguson was always going to be hard, and some begin to suggest that even Ferguson couldn't have topped Arsenal's Invincibles or Mourinho's Chelsea. As well as this, Alessandro Nesta, Dejan Stankovic and Wayne Rooney are seen as excellent signings of the Eriksson era. And that concludes our alternate football history look into Sven Goran Eriksson's Manchester United. As always, thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoyed the video. For more, don't forget to like and subscribe to see more alternate football history videos.